It's day 151 of our Bible reading plan, and today we're reading Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 1 to verse 29, Isaiah chapter 31, Isaiah chapter 32, Matthew chapter 23, verse 1 to verse 36, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1 to verse 10, and Psalms chapter 145. We're reading from the Berean Standard Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 1 to verse 29. When Moses had finished speaking these words to all Israel, he said to them, I am now 120 years old. I am no longer able to come and go. And the Lord has said to me, You shall not cross the Jordan. The Lord your God himself will cross over ahead of you. He will destroy these nations before you, and you will dispossess them. Joshua will cross ahead of you, as the Lord has said. And the Lord will do to them as he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, when he destroyed them along with their land. The Lord will deliver them over to you, and you must do to them exactly as I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Then Moses called for Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, Be strong and courageous, for you will go with these people into the land that the Lord swore to their fathers to give them, and you shall give it to them as an inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you. He will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. So Moses wrote down this law and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Then Moses commanded them, At the end of every 7 years, at the appointed time in the year of remission of debt, during the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel comes before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, you are to read this law in the hearing of all Israel. Assemble the people, men, women, children, and the foreigners within your gates, so that they may listen and learn to fear the Lord your God and to follow carefully all the words of this law. Then their children who do not know the law will listen and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, the time of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourselves at the tent of meeting, so that I may commission him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the tent of meeting. Then the Lord appeared at the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the cloud stood over the entrance to the tent. And the Lord said to Moses, You will soon rest with your fathers, and these people will rise up and prostitute themselves with the foreign gods of the land they are entering. They will forsake me and break the covenant I have made with them. On that day, my anger will burn against them, and I will abandon them and hide my face from them, so that they will be consumed, and many troubles and afflictions will befall them. On that day they will say, Have not these disasters come upon us, because our God is no longer with us? And on that day I will surely hide my face because of all the evil they have done by turning to other gods. Now therefore, write down for yourselves this song and teach it to the Israelites. Have them recite it, so that it may be a witness for me against them, when I have brought them into the land that I swore to give their fathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. They will eat their fill and prosper. Then they will turn to other gods and worship them, and they will reject me and break my covenant. And when many troubles and afflictions have come upon them, this song will testify against them, because it will not be forgotten from the lips of their descendants. For I know their inclination, even before I bring them into the land that I swore to give them. So that very day Moses wrote down this song and taught it to the Israelites. Then the Lord commissioned Joshua son of Nun and said, Be strong and courageous, for you will bring the Israelites into the land that I swore to give them, and I will be with you. When Moses had finished writing in a book the words of this law from beginning to end, he gave this command to the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Take this book of the law and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God. so that it may remain there as a witness against you. For I know how rebellious and stiff-necked you are. If you are already rebelling against the Lord while I am still alive, how much more will you rebel after my death? Assemble before me all the elders of your tribes and all your officers, so that I may speak these words in their hearing, and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you will become utterly corrupt, and turn from the path I have commanded you. And in the days to come, disaster will befall you, because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger by the work of your hands. Isaiah chapter 31. Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help, who rely on horses, who trust in their abundance of chariots and in their multitude of horsemen. They do not look to the Holy One of Israel. They do not seek the Lord. Yet he too is wise and brings disaster. He does not call back his words. He will rise up against the house of the wicked and against the allies of evildoers. But the Egyptians are men, not God. Their horses are flesh, not spirit. When the Lord stretches out his hand, the helper will stumble, and the one he helps will fall. Both will perish together. For this is what the Lord has said to me. Like a lion roaring, or a young lion over its prey, and though a band of shepherds is called out against it, it is not terrified by their shouting or subdued by their clamor. So the Lord of hosts will come down to do battle on Mount Zion and its heights. Like birds hovering overhead, so the Lord of hosts will protect Jerusalem. He will shield it and deliver it. He will pass over it and preserve it. Return to the one against whom you have so blatantly rebelled, O children of Israel. For on that day every one of you will reject the idols of silver and gold that your own hands have sinfully made. Then Assyria will fall, but not by the sword of man. A sword will devour them, but not one made by mortals. They will flee before the sword, and their young men will be put to forced labor. Their rock will pass away for fear, and their princes will panic at the sight of the battle standard, declares the Lord, whose fire is in Zion, whose furnace is in Jerusalem. Isaiah chapter 32. Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule with justice. Each will be like a shelter from the wind, a refuge from the storm, like streams of water in a dry land, like the shadow of a great rock in an arid land. Then the eyes of those who see will no longer be closed, and the ears of those who hear will listen. The minds of the rash will know and understand, and the stammering tongue will speak clearly and fluently. No longer will a fool be called noble, nor a scoundrel be respected, for a fool speaks foolishness. His mind plots iniquity. He practices ungodliness and speaks falsely about the Lord. He leaves the hungry empty and deprives the thirsty of drink. The weapons of the scoundrel are destructive. He hatches plots to destroy the poor with lies, even when the plea of the needy is just. But a noble man makes honorable plans. He stands up for worthy causes. Stand up, you complacent women, listen to me. Give ear to my word, you overconfident daughters. In a little more than a year, you will tremble, O secure ones. For the grape harvest will fail, and the fruit harvest will not arrive. Shudder, you ladies of leisure. Tremble, you daughters of complacency. Strip yourselves bare, and put sackcloth around your waist. Beat your breast for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vines, and for the land of my people, overgrown with thorns and briars, even for every house of merriment in this city of revelry. For the palace will be forsaken, the busy city abandoned, the hill and the watchtower will become caves forever, the delight of wild donkeys and a pasture for flocks, until the Spirit is poured out upon us from on high. Then the desert will be an orchard, and the orchard will seem like a forest. Then justice will inhabit the wilderness, and righteousness will dwell in the fertile field. The work of righteousness will be peace. The service of righteousness will be quiet confidence forever. Then my people will dwell in a peaceful place, in safe and secure places of rest. But hail will level the forest, and the city will sink to the depths. Blessed are those who sow beside abundant waters, who let the ox and donkey range freely. Matthew chapter 23, verse 1 to verse 36. Then Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples. The scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, so practice and observe everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, burdensome loads and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. All their deeds are done for men to see. They broaden their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love the places of honor at banquets, the chief seats in the synagogues, the greetings in the marketplaces, and the title of rabbi by which they are addressed. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth your father, for you have one Father who is in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. The greatest among you shall be your servant. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the kingdom of heaven in men's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let in those who wish to enter. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You traverse land and sea to win a single convert, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as you are. Woe to you, blind guides! You say, if anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes it sacred? And you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift on it, he is bound by his oath. You blind men, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes it sacred? So then, he who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And he who swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You pay tithes of mint, dill, and cumin, but you have disregarded the weightier matters of the law: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides! You strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, so that the outside may become clean as well. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and every kind of impurity. In the same way, on the outside you appear to be righteous, but on the inside you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the monuments of the righteous. And you say, if we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partners with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So you testify against yourselves that you are the sons of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up, then, the measure of the sin of your fathers, you snakes, you brood of vipers. How will you escape the sentence of hell? Because of these, I am sending you prophets and wise men and teachers. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and others you will flog in your synagogues and persecute in town after town. And so upon you will come all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. Truly I tell you, all these things will come upon this generation. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1 to verse 10. Be imitators of God, therefore, as beloved children, and walk in love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, as a fragrant sacrificial offering to God. But among you, as is proper among the saints, there must not be even a hint of sexual immorality, or of any kind of impurity, or of greed. Nor should there be obscenity, foolish talk, or crude joking, which are out of character, but rather thanksgiving. For of these you can be sure: no immoral, impure, or greedy person, that is an idolater, has an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of such things the wrath of God is coming on the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not be partakers with them. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. Test and prove what pleases the Lord. The book of Psalms, chapter 145, which is our last passage for today. I will exalt you, my God and King. I will bless your name forever and ever. Every day I will bless you, and I will praise your name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. His greatness is unsearchable. One generation will commend your works to the next, and will proclaim your mighty acts. The glorious splendor of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wondrous works. They will proclaim the power of your awesome deeds, and I will declare your greatness. They will extol the fame of your abundant goodness, and sing joyfully of your righteousness. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in loving devotion. The Lord is good to all. His compassion rests on all he has made. All you have made will give you thanks, O Lord, and your saints will bless you. They will tell of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might, to make known to men your mighty acts and the glorious splendor of your kingdom. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is faithful in all his words and kind in all his actions. The Lord upholds all who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you, and you give them their food in season. You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his deeds. The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call out to him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear him. He hears their cry and saves them. The Lord preserves all who love him, but all the wicked he will destroy. My mouth will declare the praise of the Lord. Let every creature bless his holy name forever and ever. I pray that God will help us to hide his word in our hearts, that we may not sin against him, and that we may be equipped and empowered to be all that he has called us to be, do all that he has called us to do, and have all that he has prepared for us to have. In Jesus' name, amen.